All right, good morning, traders. It's December 11th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you, everybody in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for subscribing and following my content. Thank you to Bob Jordan, John Jordan. Thank you for sharing my content. Appreciate that. Thank you, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, and everybody else. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here with SPY. All right, announcements. All right, so on Christmas Eve up to the 26th, I think the trading rooms will be open, but there won't be anybody moderating. Wednesday, New Year's Eve, up till the 2nd of the year. I think the trading rooms will be open, but there won't be anybody in here. Okay, so there won't be anybody moderating. Just an announcement there. All right, so today's the 11th. My trading account value up to 56,898. Max risk 10%, so 5690. 5690. Daily goal is 569. Okay, that's my daily goal for today. All right. My SPY pivot this morning, 685. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM and SLV made new all-time highs yesterday. Gold, Diamond Dow, SPY, QQQ, all made outside days, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. FNGU made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap and under the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Gold in a daily USO in a daily downtrend, made an outside day. That's a higher high and a lower low, closing in a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. UNG in a daily uptrend, made a lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. US dollar index still in a downtrend and closed near the 98.65 area. SPY max pain for today, 683 again. It's been 683 all week. With a put to call ratio of about 1 put to each call that expires today at 415. Okay, if this is your first time, these are all in bullish daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in bullish daily downtrends underneath the 17 EMA. Okay, so yesterday we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right there, coming into the close right there. 10-minute uptrend. Okay, if you did not make money on this 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, I'm going to put my Teams link down here in the chat. Okay? All right, if you didn't make money on this 10-minute uptrend, it was right after FOMC announcement. You need to get with me, okay? Because you missed a really good move, okay? It was breakout. It was beautiful move. If you didn't make money on that, something's not working, and I'm asking you to get with me so I can help you. All right. So there was a 10-minute uptrend. Of course, made about 5K trading yesterday. A lot of it was done during this 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Look at the distance between the 8 EMA and the VWAP. See how the mouth gets wider, 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 and wider. All right, made lots of money right there. Okay, so right now we have a 10-minute uptrend. We have PPO. Look at the PPO yesterday. PPO even told you on the 10-minute. See how the PPO's up over the 9 and rising higher and higher and higher. Okay, we've got the PPO doing the same thing right now. Okay, as long as it continues to rise higher and higher and higher, okay, I'd want to be in this. All right. I don't know. It looks like it's going to level out here. We'll see what happens. But 10-minute uptrend, I would look to trade a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend we left off with yesterday into this morning. So we'll see what happens. Again, I don't want any spinning tops. I don't want any dojis. I don't want any candles with more wick than body and tail combined. And I don't want any red candles. Again, I'm trading an uptrend, so I'm going to want a bullish candle to enter in on the 10-minute or the 5-minute, either one. Okay, so currently we have 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. What else we got? I think we got some other uptrends as well. I listed them off and I put them up there in the alerts. Okay, so it's more uptrends that are happening over VWAP as well. All right, let's push this back. Slide this over. Got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Okay, yesterday on the 2-hour chart. Okay, we have a 2-hour uptrend. See the 3 EMA is up over the 8, over the 17. 2-hour uptrend coming into the close yesterday on the daily chart. That's SPY. Okay, on the daily chart, we got an outside day. That's this candle right here. That's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Put the quad lines on there. You can see we're up at the top of quadrant 4. We are ever so close to producing a new all-time high. Okay, I think we came within, high yesterday was 688.97. All-time high is 689.70. So we came within 73 cents of making a new all-time high yesterday. Okay, you can see price actions up over the all-time high, anchored VWAP. All right, we're up over the 17 EMA, and we were up. We closed over the bullish trap. So that's all bullish for me. In the quadrant lines, okay, here's the April low. Up here, top of quadrant 4, you can see this would be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. We're at the top of quadrant 4, and we're in an uptrend because we're making higher highs. So we're bullish and in an uptrend currently on SPY. Weekly chart, same deal, okay? Bullish, top of quadrant 4. Bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, same deal. Nothing's broken. Bullish and in an uptrend right there. Let's take a look at the game plan. Zoom in here. My pivot, 685. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Green erases red right over the top of those wicks, those high wicks yesterday. Okay, so that's a price over 689. Red erases green underneath the bottom of those tails from yesterday. That's underneath 681.50. Okay, remember 685's the pivot, above it, bullish, below it, bearish. SPY. I trade 1 DTE and 8 DTE Friday options on the multiple of 5. Specifically for the open interest. The open interest usually equates to higher liquidity, which means less slippage and a tighter bid-ask spread. I like options that are anywhere between 30 cents and $1.20 or $1.40. I can defend those. I like those. They're more affordable. Remember, my max risk is 5,600. Call it 5,700. Okay, so my max risk is 5,700. If I get in the money options, it's going to cost me a lot to get those. I will get better performance from them than I will with my out of the money options, but it's going to cost me a lot up front. And if price does have a harsh pullback, I'm going to experience a lot more of that pain than I would if I was in the out of the money options. Okay, so I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money for that reason. They're more affordable, and I have less risk when I take on those as I would if I was in the money. Remember, the delta on the out of the money options is much lower, so you don't get the performance, but you don't have the risk either. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right, my favorite trade is a 10-minute uptrend right now over VWAP that resides inside a 2-hour uptrend, that resides inside a daily uptrend, that lives inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend, all over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We had that yesterday, okay? We had a 10-minute uptrend inside of a 2-hour uptrend, inside of a daily uptrend, inside of the weekly and monthly over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, when that happens, price tends to go further. Look at the big green candle and last longer. Okay, so we had a 10-minute uptrend that lasted right into the close. So that's my favorite trade. I took that trade. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, right now we have a same thing. We have a 10-minute uptrend right now over VWAP. Okay, that's inside of a 2-hour uptrend, that's inside of a daily uptrend, inside of a weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend. Okay, if that manifests this morning or continues, I'm looking for a continuation pattern. I will be trading it this morning. All right, so that's the SPY game plan right there. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ's got a game plan as well. All right, QQQ. Pivot, 625, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Red erases green, underneath. See this tail down here? Underneath 621. Okay, 10-minute downtrend under 621. I'd be interested in entering that 10-minute downtrend. Okay, got green erases red right up here over the wicks. 629.20. I don't know why it's that far away. Probably could have been closer to 629.21. All right, so 629.20. You got the green line. I see it. That's not. Let me fix that. There we go. I thought there was something wrong there. All right, so green erases red over 629.20 right up here. So I'll look for a 10-minute uptrend over 629.20. I'd be interested in taking that right there. Again, same on QQQ. I trade 1 DTE and 8 DTE Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest. I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money, preferably for my comfort zone and to have less risk on the trade. Remember, out of the money has a lower delta. All right, lower delta means for every dollar it moves, you have less movement if you have a lower delta. If you have a higher delta, you're going to get more performance with a higher delta. In the money options have a higher delta than out of the money options, okay? I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. If a 10-minute downtrend were to manifest up here, okay, long before the red erases green entry, or up here, long before the red erases green entry, I'm not opposed to trading that 10-minute downtrend. I just like to see it break either the 5-minute or the 10-minute bearish rubber band candle so that I know that I'm not in something that's going to be weak. All right, I want a strong downtrend or a strong uptrend. Okay, same thing with the uptrends. If one were to manifest down here, all right, long before the green erases red entry, again, I'm not opposed to trading it. We have one currently, a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. I'm not opposed to trading this to the upside, okay? Long before it gets to the green erases red, just want to see it break the 10-minute or the 5-minute bullish rubber band candle. You can see that would be the spike candle. That would be the free floating candle, and you can see all these candles broke it. So actually right here, this would be the free floating candle, and we topped it off right there with the 10-minute uptrend, and you can see price moving up. So there's QQQ. All right, let's take a look at QQQ on the 10-minute. All right, on the 10-minute, QQQ had a 10-minute uptrend that was getting pinched off coming into the close. 2-hour trend, we're going to look at that over here in the scratch. 2-hour was an uptrend coming into the close on QQQ. Daily candle was an outside day, higher high, lower low. closing over the bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? There's a high, there's a higher high, that's an uptrend. Here's the April low, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish, and in an uptrend right there. Okay, weekly chart, bullish, top of quadrant 4, bullish, and in an uptrend. Nothing's broken here yet. Monthly chart, okay, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish, and in an uptrend. You can see the candlesticks riding on top of the 3. All right, you can see the 3 in the candlesticks. All right, riding on top of the 8. You've got daylight between the 3 and the 8. We love it when we see the daylight between the 3 and the 8. Okay, you have a uptrend right there. So that's bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly chart. That's QQQ. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Look at that on the daily chart. Okay, Diamond Dow this is yesterday's candle right here. Okay, right there, the big green one. Okay, so higher high, lower low. This would be the day before's candle. See, there's the low, we made a lower low. See the high, we made a higher high. So outside day, all right, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap. See the yellow 3 EMA? That's the top of the trap. We closed over the bullish trap, okay? So that's bullish, all right? But get this, not in an uptrend because we haven't made a higher high yet. Okay, so that's the high we need to take out. This is the April low, top of quadrant 4. Okay, we haven't taken out, we haven't made a higher high. That's the high to take out. As soon as we take out that high, we will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. So we're up here at the top of quadrant 4. We're bullish. We're in a downtrend. It's a dysfunctional downtrend. It's a downtrend with a violent pullback in it, okay? And it's darn near ready to produce a new all-time high. So it will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend as soon as they get that done. All right, that's Diamond Dow. So it's a downtrend that's not working, okay? Because price has been moving up. So there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM, new all-time high yesterday right there. That's a 10th. Okay, so drop the mic. Okay, it doesn't get any better than that. Okay, all-time high, bullish, top of quadrant 4. Well, it just made quadrant 4. And in an uptrend. Here's the April low, bullish, and in an uptrend. Okay, we did QQQ, we did IWM, last one, FNGU. Okay, FNGU did not perform where we wanted it to perform yesterday. It's this red candle right here. Okay, so we got a lower high and a lower low, and we closed under the bullish trap and under the 17 EMA and and on top of the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so not quite the performance we're looking for, but they're still moving up and holding the higher ground here. Okay, I don't mind it. All right. I don't like it, but I don't mind it. I like to see them hold the higher ground. So they're still holding that higher ground up top there over all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, we're going to need FNGU in order to produce some new all-time highs. So we'll see what happens here. That's FNGU on the daily chart. Okay, so that is in an uptrend because there's a high. We made a higher high, so that's an uptrend. So we're still in quadrant 4. So this is still bullish and in an uptrend and in a bull flag right now. Looking for this to break out. Hopefully they're pulling back to make a spring forward. We'll see what happens. That's FNGU. Let's take a look at silver. Okay, silver yesterday, new all-time high, dropped the mic. Doesn't get any better than that. Gold. By the way, silver's bullish and in an uptrend, if you didn't know it, making a new all-time high. Okay, outside day for gold, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, See the pink line over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Putting in a bull flag launch pad right here. Okay, just ready for that to launch. On the daily chart, you can see we're at the top of quadrant 4. We're bullish and in an uptrend on GLD. Okay, let's take a look at UNG. Okay, nat gas. Nat gas. This is yesterday's candle. See this doji looking cross right there? That's yesterday's candle. This is today's candle. And the low of today is 1364. The low of this day, 1359. They are ever so close to converting a downtrend. All right. Currently, they're in an uptrend. Okay, because they haven't broken this low. This is yesterday's candle, so it looks like a lower low and a lower high, and we closed underneath a bearish trap. Notice the yellow line is under the 8. The candlesticks are under the 3. Okay, so 3 is under the 8. So under a bearish trap, under, see the dots, that's the 17 EMA, and under the 2025 high anchored VWAP. So we're in here in quadrant 1, that's bearish, and we're in an uptrend that's having a harsh pullback. Okay, so uptrend with a harsh pullback. See the sword? See the business end of the sword? Okay, so typically what happens when you get the sword and you get the business end of the sword is you get price moves up. All right, see to the top of the sword, and then it moves back. All right, back down. Okay, that's typically what you get. So you're getting a bearish sword with follow through. It's a bearish sword because the business end is pointed to the upside. Okay, everything is pointed up. Okay, meaning that bulls in that candle right there. Okay, see how bulls, we started right here, and bulls rallied price up, okay, and then bears pushed price back, and then we closed right there. So more of the sword was dominated by the bears than it was by the bulls. So we give it, that becomes a bearish sword candle right there, because the bears dominated most of the price action. See, the bulls pushed it up, bears pushed it back, and they dominated over 51% of the candle. So that's a bearish sword candle. And you got follow through, because look, price came down right here and then made a lower low, and then came down and made a lower low and came down, okay, again, and made a lower low down here. Okay, so that's a bearish sword candle right there. Okay, so we'll take this out of the way. So we're in quadrant 1, so that's bearish and in an uptrend that's not really working right now. Okay, having a violent pullback. All right, so let's take a look at USO. Make sure I get the right candle. It is an outside day as well. It's a higher high, a lower low, closing inside a bearish trap. Okay, but under the following 17. You can see our downtrend line here. We spiked it one time. All right, and then we lost it. Okay, so anytime you see them lose it after one candle, see this? 3 candles, they lose it. 1 candle, it rolls over. 1 candle, it rolls over. 1 candle, see it roll over. 1 candle, it rolls over. See that? 2 candles, and then it rolls over. See that? It's a sign of weakness. Okay, they cannot hold the higher highs. That's why I give so much credit to those stocks or securities that have that performance and the ability to move up and hold the higher ground. See here, failure, 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 failure. See all of this? Okay, might be a while before this is ready yet. That's why whenever I see price move up and hold the higher ground, that's the type of price action that's going to capture my attention. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, this does not work. Not interested in it unless I want to short it. Okay, not really wanting to short it. I like to play long when I'm with a bullish market. All right, so whenever I see price move up and hold that higher ground, okay, that's like planking or holding a chin up that long or holding a push up that long, okay? That takes an incredible amount of strength. When that happens, like any athlete, that captures my attention, okay? So that's the one I want to be interested in watching, looking for opportunity, looking for that 10-minute uptrend, okay? This, not interested, okay? Why? It's not working, and it hasn't worked in a long time, and it might never work for another 6 months, maybe not till the spring of 2026. We're getting a pinch right now. You can see you got a low, got a higher low, higher low, higher low, and higher low. So eventually this thing's going to pinch. It's either going to go down or it's going to go up. We'll see. All right. Just because if it goes up, all right, again, I will be looking if it does come out of here like a wet watermelon seed between your thumb and your index finger. Okay, when it pops out of there, or like a spring that's coiling up. All right, I want to see if it's going to be able to hold the higher highs. And again, more than 3 days is necessary. Okay, more than 3 days. USO, not ready yet. Still neutral and in a downtrend because they made a lower low. Here's the low, they made a lower low. Okay, so USO, neutral, and in a downtrend currently. All right, let's take a look at the technicals. T21.01. Okay, so price went up and we lost market breadth yesterday. Okay, market participation went down, aka breadth went down. See, it's lower than the day before, and price of the SPY went up. Okay, I don't like that. Right, as well as IWM. IWM made new all-time highs, and look, we're getting less participation. Okay, that's not good. I want to see more participation when we're making higher highs. Okay, that doesn't give me much confidence. Okay, in the higher highs if we're getting less participation and less breadth. Okay, it doesn't work. Those don't go together. Okay, you want to see more breadth, more participation when the market's making new highs. Otherwise, they look like a bull trap. All right, like a rollover, like false. Okay, you want to see things that are true. You want to see price move up, breadth and participation move up with it. All right, to show you that that the move is valid. All right, that's what I like to see. T21.01. That's a 15-minute chart. Okay, again, price moved up, breadth and participation moved lower. Okay, not liking that at all. Okay, let's take a look at T21.22. Impressive day yesterday. Okay, but shouldn't be surprised since IWM made a new all-time high. We chomped around. That's the Russell 2000, making little micro higher lows. Okay, and so you got some highs here. We made some little higher highs. We even made an appearance, okay, in the overbought zone. Okay, so that's nice work on T21.22. I like that. T21.23. Well, we're still in an uptrend. We're still over the 200, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, we're going to go back to the all-time highs, which is right there. Going to stick the quad lines on there. Okay, so we're no longer in the lower third. Okay, this is the pullback from the all-time high. We're no longer in the lower third. All right, so we're neutral now, and we're in an uptrend. And look what we're doing. Okay, remember what I was talking about earlier? Moving up, holding the higher ground. Okay, so here's price moving up and holding the higher ground. See, they built a little launch pad and then they launched. All right, so this is looking good. I like it. Like to see them build another launch pad and then launch. And keep doing it. Rinse and repeat. All right, that's what I want to see. Rinse and repeat. Okay, T2123, bullish and in an uptrend on top of the 200 SMA. That's my favorite place to be because I'm a bull. T2123. All right, 3-bar chart. 3-bar chart. There's a high. Oh my gosh, we made a higher high. We finally broke the 3-bar chart downtrend. I have not been able to say we've had a 3-bar chart uptrend for a long time, all through October, all through December. Okay, because we made lower lows. Okay, so we're in a downtrend. All right, ever since we made this low and then we made lower lows. Okay, so almost through all of October, all of November, and almost all of December as well. We finally got an uptrend. There's a high. We just made a higher high yesterday. Okay, we're still under the 200 SMA. Okay, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. You guys already know I'm still bullish on the market. I'm not giving up on it yet. All right, I'm going to take the quad lines off because that was there for the 15 minute. All right, you can see we're in the upper third. All right, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. All right, we got some obstacles ahead of us. We've obviously got this flat 200 SMA, which held us down at the same spot last time. So we'll see what happens. You can see price bouncing off of 3-bar charts neckline. Got a head and shoulders neckline right here. Look where the 3-bar chart bounces. Right on the same neckline, we find support. And price comes back. Now we're finally in an uptrend. Okay, the question is, are we going to make a little inverted head and shoulders? In other words, the bullish version of the head and shoulders. That's the bearish version. This would be the bullish. We'll see. That could be the left shoulder. This could be the right shoulder. We'll see what happens. All right. We have a neckline right here, and we broke through it. So we'll see if they got follow through sometime today. All right. So this is the bullish version of the neckline of the head and shoulders. Okay. Let's take a look at FNGU. By the way, 3-bar chart, bullish in an uptrend. Okay, FNGU. Not my favorite dance partner yesterday. Okay. I'm just going to say, got a bearish gap down. This is the 10. We didn't fill gap till the FOMC announcement. All right, everything was kind of hinged on the FOMC announcement, obviously, to fill gap. I don't even know if we filled gap. Yes, we did. Okay, we spent the majority of the day under the 200 SMA. Again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear, not a bear. Spent the majority of the day over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That part was nice. All right, we did close at the end of the day over the 200 SMA. That was nice. All of the post-market and the pre-market is not looking good for the indices. Well, anyways, not good for the QQQ and the SPY today. All right, so unless they can keep this 10-minute uptrend alive, it does not look good for QQQ and SPY. Okay, a lot of price action underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath right here this flat 200 SMA. Okay, so they left off. They are, they did not make a higher high. All right, so they left off yesterday in a downtrend. All right, on the 15-minute chart, FNGU, see that? There's a high right there. They didn't make a higher high. Well, let me see. Let me look at it one more way. High, higher high, right there. Okay, so they are in an uptrend. Okay, because I got, see the high over the 17, and then they pulled back. Got a high over the 17. They pulled back and then made a higher high. So they are they left off in an uptrend. My bad, uptrend, and they did close over the 200 SMA. That was nice. Okay, but here we are again in the post market and the pre market, and we're underneath. Okay, so that 10-minute uptrend needs to stay alive, and they need to climb back on top of this 200 SMA and do the whole gap fill thing. All right, that's FNGU. Let's take a look at the economic package on the dollar. Okay, dollar, big red candle yesterday. That's what happens when you cut rates. Your money gets cheaper. So, 98.65, and we're in a downtrend. There's a low. We made lower low. There's a lower high. See, there's a high, made a lower high, and a lower low. So we're in a downtrend on the US dollar. Back out. Okay, this is our downtrend here, and then into a bear flag. All right, we had a little uptrend inside of our bear flag, but they lost it when they made a lower low right here. So dollar still bearish. Now, for the consumer in us, it sucks. Nobody likes a weak dollar. That means our working dollars don't go as far as they used to. Okay, all the money that you saved, everything's going to cost you more because you got a weak dollar. Okay, and then but the investor in you, all right, is going to love this because all of our goods and services are now cheaper, all right, for foreign countries to purchase. Okay, meaning any of our investments, all right, that are global will probably go up because we'll bring in more revenue on the top line and on the bottom line, which typically equates to higher earnings, and then the price goes up of the security that we've invested in. So the investor in you is going to like the weaker dollar, but the consumer in you is not going to like it because you're going to have to pay more for goods and services. Okay, so on the earnings calendar, big headliner tonight, AVGO, $1.9 trillion, almost $2 trillion. Costco, $387 billion. That's a market mover, all right, tonight. Big time market mover. $1.9 trillion. That's almost $2 trillion right there in market cap. It's going to report tonight after the close. Okay, that will move the markets. That will definitely jerk the needle. All right, economic calendar. What do we have today? All right, we got international trade and goods and services coming out at 8:30. Jobless claims 8:30. Quarterly services survey 10 o'clock. Another quarterly services survey at 10 o'clock. So you're going to get both last month and this month at the same time. Wholesale inventories 10 o'clock. That's a delayed report from last month or last week. Gas report at 10 tomorrow. Nothing but a rig count at 1 o'clock. Okay, so that's it for the economic calendar. SPY Max Pain, again, 683. It's been 683 all week. Put the call ratio. I hope this is right. This is not right. Today's the 11th. Max Pain for today, 685. 1.26 puts. So 1.25 puts for each call that expires today. And Max Pain is not 683, it's 685. All right, got to get that fixed. Thank you, Alan, for sharing, as always. Appreciate that. All right, traders, I will be back in about 35, 40 minutes to open up the markets and lead us into more profits. Again, look for those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. Okay, you can find them easily if you've got the PPO, okay, on your screen. Okay, 10-minute chart. Okay, you see the 9 EMA, you want it to be up over the 9. Okay, and you want the bars to be rising. See how they're rising here? See, they might be red, but they're still rising, and they're above the 9. Rising and above the 9. Preferably blue, rising and above the 9. All right? That's what we'll be looking for. Okay, see that? See yesterday's performance? See this big? Again, if you didn't make money on this yesterday, please get with me. I want to help you. All right, again, rising and up over the 9. Okay, if the 10-minute uptrend confuses you, look at this. Rising and over the 9 EMA. Okay, this will give you the clarity if this is all confusing. Okay, right there, rising over the 9. Okay, 10-minute chart. All right. Again, get with me if you didn't make money on this pop. Okay, because that was easy money. That was my favorite trade. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside a 2-hour uptrend, inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly and the monthly, all over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's my favorite trade. Okay, PPO confirmed it as well. All right. All right, I'll see you guys in about 35 minutes, and we'll reopen the markets, and hopefully we can find a continuation pattern of the 10-minute uptrend. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.